Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, She the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Today I will be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 8. Okay, so all the couples are now back into their respective home where, the show puts them up. And so this episode, we get to see the rest of the couples go to their spouse's house, which I thought was weird because they actually didn't show quite a few people's homes. Like they did not show Shaq's home. Like when they go to Kirsten's house, they show like a little bit of his house, but they didn't actually show his house. They didn't actually show Nicole's home. I'm like thinking about it now, and they actually didn't show a lot of people's homes, which I thought was strange. They have cut the show down to half an hour less than what it used to be, which is 2 hours to include the after party at the end. But it's like, if showing Shaq's house was important, if showing Nicole's house was important, if showing Clint's house was important, how come we didn't get to see that? So I didn't like that. I mean, I don't know if those things are important. Like, I think there are things that they could definitely cut out, i.e. putting all the weddings in one episode. But it's like, y'all want to drag that out. Y'all want us to have after brunch with the families, but y'all don't want to show me Shaq's house. Y'all don't want to show me Clint's house. Like, I think that would have been more interesting. It seems like Dom and Mac have very awkward interactions. Like anytime I see them talking, I feel like I just missed something, right? Like they're showing us a conversation, but I feel like I missed a part of it because it just seems so stiff and so awkward. And it's like, that I can't be coming in at the beginning of this interaction because it just seems so weird. We see that, Mac goes over to Dom's place, and it's funny because I feel like Dom has a lot of expectations that she keeps placing on Mac based on what she believes her spouse or her person should do. And I am on Mac's side, unfortunately, in this situation, because it comes off as this like, Dom, please, like, if you wanted to pick your person, you should have picked your person. You should have told your mom, no, I don't want to do this show because I'm very picky and I have an expectation of who my partner is. And I don't know if they're going to meet that expectation, so I don't want to do this show. But she didn't do that. She agreed. She listened to her mom. She's on this show. And now she's like super nitpicky about a person. And don't get me wrong, Mac has been terrible. He complains, he's lied, he's done all that. But at the same time, it's like, Dom, no, like this guy is going to be his own person and you have to either accept it and like this person or you don't, which is completely fine. But I don't think you should come on Married at First Sight and not expect that the person might have some work to do. And she just, he was in her house. And don't get me wrong, Mac was absolutely uninterested in her home and anything about it. Like, well, you didn't ask me questions, so I don't really have any questions here. But we're walking to a space that you didn't decorate. You don't know anything about the space. You just moved into it. And so I kind of understand that. It's like, if you're coming into somebody's home to get a better idea of who that person is and nothing in this home is theirs, then what questions am I going to ask you? Because this doesn't represent who you are. Whereas you came into Dom's home, I do understand this. It's like you came into Dom's home that she decorated and she picked out and everything is of her choice and her choosing. And you don't have anything to say. Like, you don't want to get to know her. And so to me, I just think that, they both just seem to not like each other. And we're just watching a long, drawn out episode or season, who knows, of two people who are just unlikable and then don't like each other. So it's like hard. We get to go to Gina's place. Gina's place was really nice. Like, honestly, I'm like, well, girl, don't move into the apartments because your place is nice as hell. Nice view, very big, very spacious. But it's funny because she actually says she doesn't want to move into the apartment. And I'm like, what are we watching here, right? Like Married at First Sight. What did you think was going to happen? You thought, oh, I'm going to marry somebody at first sight and then go back and live my regular life for the next 8 weeks while the cameras follow me around in my own home? Baby, this is not the real world. This is not Real Housewives. We are not coming to your home to see you. We are watching you because you have agreed and entered a contract to marry a stranger. I don't care what you do in your home. I don't care. I don't want to see it. You know, like we want to see you as a couple. And now you don't want to move in? Baby girl, no. And I'm tired. And I hate to say this because MAFS allows them a 2-bedroom apartment. They need to make the rule that you have to move in. No, I don't feel comfortable with this person. So what did you think you were coming for? And if you're coming for influencers, followers, whatever, I also think that's fine. But if you're coming for that, you better come in, do what you need to do on the show to get them, right? Don't just come and then don't participate in the show and then still feel like you deserve the followers, the influence, whatever. Like, I am so angry with Gina because I was over here defending her. I have defended this woman on this channel here. And now she's showing her, you know? I'm just like, girl, how am I now defending Clint because he's being the reasonable party, talking about this is an experience that I want to, you know, be fully in. We move in together, we get to know, because honestly, like I said, living with someone on vacation versus living with somebody day to day where they go to work, come back, that's a different interaction, right? Vacation is fun, fun, fun on the go. This is like, I have to work. I have to take my dog out. I have to do laundry. Like, it's a different navigation that you get when you live like that. And so Clint being the party that is like all in, whereas Gina's like, making that little face. I'm like, girl, get off my TV screen. I don't even want to see you anymore. Like, you disgust me. Tired of her. It's funny because Eris goes to Jasmine's house. They show Jasmine's house. And he was like, oh, the dogs, they're so cute. And I'm like, this is the same man that was talking about all them dogs at the wedding dinner. But you know, it was cute. I think it's hard to dislike dogs, right? Especially puppies, especially when they're not doing anything and they're just in your arms being cute. And I knew that would happen, obviously, unless you have like a fear of animals, dogs, whatever. You get a little one in your arms, not doing anything, being very sweet and kind, and she has golden doodles, which are like the best. It's like, of course somebody's gonna fall in love. They don't bark, they don't make noise, they don't, like, it's just a really sweet dog. So I'm glad that Eris kind of like took a step back on the whole dog take. And he also mentions like, oh, he sees all her crowns. He's like, wow, I asked for a black queen and they gave me a black queen. Eris's problem is he's just not attracted to Jasmine. I don't know why. I don't know what she could do to make herself more attractive to him. I do have some thoughts on what it is, and I'll get into a little later. But, you know, I don't know. I just think that Eris, in his mind, thinks he deserves a celebrity. And it's like, you don't. But, you know, everybody has their belief of themselves. But yeah. Then we see Shaq go to Kirsten's house, and honestly, y'all, Kirsten thinks she me. Not decorating her home, like, girl, please, that's my MO. I am definitely, like, it's so funny because he was talking about her, and I just remembered my apartment that I had, and it was, like, empty, and people would always come over and be like, why don't you have nothing? Like, why is this place so empty? No pictures, no nothing. I'm just like, you know, I did put up a picture frame, and it fell. And then that was it for me. I was like, you know what? It's not meant to be. But yeah, it's funny because I am a clean aesthetic girl. Like, I don't mind what you see here because this is fake. This is like, this little stuff is just random things. But for the most part, I am absolutely a clean aesthetic. Don't put up any pictures. Don't put up anything. Like, I kind of want to live in a way that it's like I could just get up and go. I don't know why. I'm like that. So when I saw Kirsten's place, I was like, I don't know. I don't mind it. Shaq was like, oh, I can't tell anything about you or this. I'm like, well, you know, she's a clean aesthetic girl. She ready to go. She ready to come move in with you, boo. She ready to live with her man, you know? And they showed glimpses of Shaq's house, and when they went, and his house had so much, like a sewing machine, pictures, art, and, you know, which is kind of dope to me that he's very expressive of who he is and what he likes. But, you know, like I said, I'm on Kirsten's side. I'm somebody who's like, I don't want no pictures on the wall. I don't want anything. Maybe one day I'll get out of that and I'll feel more settled in a space, but for now, no. So I get it. Maybe Kirsten's waiting for her husband or a husband so she can move into a place and kind of like make it their own. That could be what she's waiting for. But you can also maybe believe that maybe Kirsten's a girl that's just very pretty with little personality, right? Like that is a possibility of who she is. She might just be a pretty girl with no personality. I don't know. I'm defending her because I like her so far, but she could be that girl. She could be that girl that's like, oh, you're just boring. But I hope not. Yeah. Then, oh, so funny. In the car driving home, Dom and Mac are arguing about Mac's dogs. Now, I've seen, and I've actually gone back and forth with a couple people on Twitter with this. I think that if Mac's dogs were very important to him, they would be there with him. That's just my belief. I'm sorry. People feel like, oh, when you move, when you're trying to get settled, when you're this, you're that. When I moved, I was like, my dog is coming with me. So let me find a space, an interim space or whatever that will allow my dogs. You saw Chris was practically about to kill himself last episode over his dogs not being able to stay with him. He was crying. He was distraught. Everybody thought somebody had died because he wasn't going to be able to stay with his dogs for 8 weeks, not even like 5 months. Like Mac has been away from his dog, actually even longer, because if you remember, Dom exposed him that Mac had lived in California prior to coming to Tennessee, which is why I also once again believe that he was just trying to get on Married at First Sight because the last season was in San Diego. So he probably moved to California, wasn't selected, came to Tennessee. And in that time, he hadn't thought about his dogs or bringing them. Now they're the most important thing where he has to argue with Dom over it. And the thing is, again, do I like how Dom was arguing? I don't. I actually don't like people that argue that way. It's like they shut you down and they don't want to hear anything you have to say because they feel that their opinion is the only and correct opinion. I don't like that. She wasn't trying to hear him out. I do believe that she did need to hear him out. But I also agree with her where it's like, if she doesn't want to sleep in the bed with dogs, clearly that's okay. You have been sleeping in the bed dogless for months. So when they come, you could just continue that. I don't know why you're trying to fight her. Like, to me, it's like, you haven't been doing it. So why is it a fight now? Like, if that's something that you do, cool. You haven't been doing it. I'm telling you I don't like it. And you should be able to say, like, you know what? I haven't been doing it. So it's okay. I'll try to get them to not do that. But it seems like, to me, Mac just wanted to argue with Dom. That's what I think. And Dom, because she already is kind of over him, is just like, that, I don't want to hear it. Dead it. Cut the conversation off. All of that stuff. Like, she just seemed very uninterested in that line of conversation. And yeah, she just shut it down how she did. I loved how Chris and Nicole introduced their dogs on neutral ground, you know, at the dog park. I don't know if they saw last season with what's her name and the tall guy, and they were like, we are not about to have another incident of that where the dogs attack each other. Or maybe they're just more responsible pet owners who were like, hey, let's let them meet on neutral ground. Although I do think that the new apartment is neutral ground because neither dog has lived in that space. But, you know, well, I'm glad they did it at the dog park. And it seemed like the dogs got along great. Chris's dogs are really big and really wild. Like, you know, not wild in that they're crazy, but they're like, you know, excited dogs that jump around and move around a lot. And so I'm glad that that interaction went well, because if they do move forward, that's 3 dogs that have to live in the same space. And from what it looks like, they're going to be going to an apartment in the beginning, and, you know, if they can afford it, get a house. But it's like that space that's going to be needed, because Chris's dogs are really big and her dog isn't as big, but still needs space. They're going to have, you know, some trouble. I am so, like I was saying earlier, I'm so irritated by Gina. I think her not wanting to move in is the dumbest thing that she said. And she's sticking to it. Like, she's really, really pushing this point. Like, she has the right to feel so uncomfortable, because to me, I feel like, okay, you're uncomfortable. You don't want to sleep in the same bed with him. Great. Love that. That's fine. Although I don't think it's fine, but I'll let it go. But the apartment has 2 bedrooms, meaning that you should move in and just sleep in a separate bedroom. She's like, well, I don't want to move in if I'm going to sleep in a separate bedroom because that defeats the purpose. Baby girl, you staying at home already defeated the purpose, because you staying in your house. The purpose defeated. It's already gone. So I don't like that. I just think that these people are so entitled. Like, you're on this show, you agreed to the rules, and now you get here and it's almost like they're trying to see what they can get away with. Well, like, well, I'm just not going to move in, and what are they going to do? I need from now on Pastor Cal, Dr. Pepper to be like, well, you're not going to get paid. So for every day that you live in your own home, you don't get paid. I need that to be like a stipulation or something, because it's getting crazy and I'm tired of it. Then we see Dawn doesn't want to move in with Mac. I'm just like, y'all. Okay, with them, I get it a little bit more, because she don't even like him anymore. It just, I mean, I'm not saying that she shouldn't. I still think she should. She does not have to move into the bedroom. I don't know why people are acting like there's not 2 bedrooms in these apartments. Go stay in the 2nd bedroom and just stay in the same place so you guys can see if you can work through it. Now, if you cannot, great. Divorce, call it decision day early and move on. But to not even want to be in the same space as the person, it's like, well, how do you think you're going to grow or get to know the person or get to be a better couple if you're not even in the same space as them? It just doesn't make sense. And she keeps calling Mac negative. It's like, baby girl, you are also negative, right? Like, you think that he's so crazy negative and you're not negative at all. But she doesn't realize that in calling him negative and feeling down and low about it, she is also being extremely negative. And that's hard for him probably to deal with her. Thank God the experts finally showed up. Pastor Cal came. He talked to Jasmine and Eris. Honestly, I don't want to like Eris, but he's honest. He told Pastor Cal that he does not find Jasmine to be attractive, and he knows that she finds him to be very attractive, and she even says that she wants him to like want to jump her bones and all this stuff. So, you know, Pastor Cal is talking about it, and I think it's interesting. What I think, and I could be wrong, he keeps saying that he finds her attractive, but he's just having a hard time getting to that point and wanting to be sexual. And I do kind of feel that maybe Eris feels pressure, right? Like, in the past, he meets women, he dates them, he sleeps with them. It's nothing, right? Because it's nothing. He's not trying to date them. He's not trying to be serious. He's really just trying to, you know, dig it out and go. But in this situation, he's married. This is his wife. Right? So there might be a little pressure he's feeling. I don't know if that's it, but he might be feeling a little pressure to perform, right? And it's like, if I now sleep with this woman and have sex with this woman, she's my wife. There is a different expectation going on. And I feel like that might be holding him back. I also don't think he thinks that she's that attractive. Like, he keeps saying that she's attractive. Like, I think he thinks figuratively she's attractive. Like, does she have the features of someone who's attractive? Yes. But is he attractive to her? Not so much. Pastor Cal makes them do an exercise in which they talk about what they like about each other. And it seems that he really likes who she is, right? And that's, again, another thing. He likes who she is. I don't know if he always likes the women he sleeps with, right? Or does he just find them attractive? That's the first thing he notices about them. So who they are is just not as important. So who knows? Gina and Clint talk to Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal, I'm so glad that he is like, y'all BSing. Like, what is the issue, right? And he's getting upset with her, saying that you're already trying to derail this relationship if you don't move in. You're trying to hinder it. You're saying like, oh, if we move in and stay in separate rooms, that's going to be a problem. No, it's going to be a problem if you at home. And she's pushing like, well, I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to do it. And honestly, he lets it go. But I would have been like, girl, go home. and we not gonna record you in your home. I wanted him to go off, but Pastor Cal can't do it. The only thing he can do is take his glasses off and look at them real sternly. But I would have gone off on her because I am so mad that you have me over here defending Clint, because Clint is the only person working to make this relationship work. I can't even speak because I can't believe it. He seems like he would be the type that would be more of a problem, but he was definitely like, no, I want it to work. I want to try it out. I want to live together. I want to see what this experience brings. I'm just shocked, but he is that person, and I'm excited about that. And Gina is showing why she's single, and she'll probably continue to be single because she be done with people. And don't get me wrong, I'm somebody that be done with people after one little instance, but I also wouldn't go on Married at First Sight and do that. I would know that I'm in this situation where I need to be more forgiving and understanding and work through different things, right? Pastor Cal went and spoke to Kirsten and Shaq, and Kirsten told Pastor Cal that there was zero chemistry. I mean, we see it, right? Everything they do just seems so forced. She likes him. I know she does because she be laughing at him and whatever, but she just doesn't see him sexually. And that's huge, right? You want to see your partner sexually. It's the same thing that Aries is having with Jasmine. You might like someone, you might like who they are, but if you don't see them sexually, then that presents a little bit of a problem when you're trying to take it from friend to lover. It's hard. She talks about how she doesn't like all of his jokes. And Pastor Cal was like, girl, you're going to have to get over that because you don't always have to like every joke or everything your partner says, but you work through it because you love them and you want it to work. He says his wife gets annoyed with him. I get that. I can understand that. And I want Kirsten, I really do, as a viewer, want Kirsten to get over that hump so her and Shaq can have a good relationship, which I think they would if she gets over that. Chris and Nicole, both of their leases are coming up. And it's funny because I am very, very surprised that Chris is like, I want to renew my lease for 8 or 9 months and have you do that. And so whatever happens, we can not be without a place. And I'm like, I thought this was someone who was ready to take a leap and be in a relationship. But he is turning out to be very, very cautious. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be cautious. In my mind, I know that's a smart decision. But I also feel like when you expect something to fail, then it will fail, right? You're going into it saying, let me keep my place just in case things don't work out. Well, of course, things aren't going to work out now because you're putting that into the air. You're putting that into the atmosphere that things may not work out. And that's why you need to have a space. I think that getting an apartment is easy, right? It might be a little bit more expensive, but actually finding a place to live is not that hard. Hopefully they're not on a budget, but it's I'm just really shocked that that was his take. So when Pastor Cal went to go speak to them, he was on Nicole's side. Why are you getting a separate space? You should be thinking about, this is a real marriage. And I think that's the problem that we're seeing on Married at First Sight. People are going on Married at First Sight talking about it's 8 weeks. You're getting married. You should be thinking about month 6, 1 year, a year and a half. You should not be thinking about today. It should be okay, we're going through today. We're going through these motions, but this is a marriage that I intend to stay committed to. So I'm trying to think about what's to come. But people aren't thinking like that. I am surprised that Nicole is the only person that's what's happening in the future? Let me get to the future. Yes, I'm living for today, but this is a marriage and I intend to be in it 1 year from now, 2 years from now. So what's going on there? And I'm also surprised that I thought Nicole was the crazy one that was going to bulldoze through Chris, but everything she has given in. Her dog is staying at her house and she has to go see him. They agreed to sign a lease for 9 months. I'm like, girl, Nicole, I thought you was going to be rough and tough. And I need you to be. I need her to be that person because Chris, all this apprehension she's bringing to the relationship is actually going to be the downfall of it. That's what I believe. I think he needs to be jumping in with 2 feet. He's getting to the edge. He's dipping his toes in and he's trying to be able to dip out, not into the water. He's trying to be able to like have a way out. And the thing is, if you're really in this, you shouldn't be looking for a way out. You should be looking on how to make this relationship work. Then we see Pastor Carl talking to Dom and Mac, and I think they should break up. I think that should be decision day. It should be like when we saw Chris and Alyssa, and he was like, so is this your decision day? And Chris was like, absolutely, I'm out. That is how Mac and Dom should be, because unless Dom could kind of like reinvigorate herself and Mac can reinvigorate himself back into this relationship, I think we're just going to watch two people who have very awkward interactions every time they get together. And I don't want to see that. And I'm sure no one else wants to see that. It's like, I thought Dom seemed so fun and so bright and so young and youthful and ready to go. And I feel like her being around Mac has like really brought her down. And I'm like, that's not fun. And she was like, I joined this to get somebody that was old, established, ready to be married, whatever. And they gave her Mac, who really isn't. Like, yes, he works, but he is not a stable, established person. He does not have a place that he lives. He does not have anything to offer her besides himself. And that should be enough. But it wasn't what she was looking for. She was looking for more than that. And I think that he's not able to offer that just yet, you know? But I don't know. And we were left with a little cliffhanger of if that's going to be their decision day or if they're going to work it out. So again, I'm excited to see what happens next episode. I really want them to kind of try it out a little bit more. But if it's not, then it's not. Like, I don't want to force anything, but I do want them to try and give it a little bit of a shot if there's even an inkling that it might work out. But either way, I'm super excited for the rest of this season. I'm hoping that Kirsten comes out of her shell. I'm hoping that Nicole starts pushing back a little bit on Chris. I'm hoping that Clint puts Gina in her place and she finally gets it together, because something is wrong with that girl. I'm hoping that Eris is able to get through his mental block and see Jasmine for the beautiful Black queen that she is. So yeah, I'm excited. Come back. I will give you another recap of the next episode. Sorry this one was so late. I'm going to be better next time. It's just been a crazy week. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Please, please, please tell me what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys next week.